How can Thailand become a world-class destination for quality condos, and what segments in the real estate market present investment opportunities? Tanya Chearavanond, CEO of ONE.SIX Development and creator of the Strand Thonglor Condo, gives us her insights. The Thai real estate market not as developed, so there is this perception among, especially the West, of not being so reliable or looking at short term. Maybe the materials are not as good or not as well managed. Is Do you see this as an obstacle that prevents the real estate market from truly appealing to global buyers?
I think that's a really interesting question because maybe from a developer's perspective, we see it quite differently, especially in the luxury segment. Our product, the materials, and the specifications that we choose to put into the projects are comparable to the likes of the top cities in the world. So we're using the same appliances, we're using the same materials and things like that. And that's due to how competitive this market really is. So every developer is trying to put the best product out there at the best price. And especially in the luxury segment, there is really no compromise because the customers are so educated. Even Thai buyers or foreign buyers, they know what specifications they're looking for in the building. They know what brand of kitchenware you're putting into the project. And there's so many other developers to compare with. So I think in that sense, it really maintains, for a luxury segment, the high level of quality that's being developed. But what we're building is something tangible. And I think as a developer, it's our responsibility to build something that really withholds time and maintains its value over time. So when I choose a plot of land to develop, I'm very particular on the locations I'm looking for and the kind of product that we can build and who's going to be living here. That's our way of, building sustainably. Obviously, for me personally, by knowing that we're building something that's tangible and here for at least the next few decades, it's really important to build something of quality.
Do you see this kind of trend of developing a more long-lasting condo? Is this the opportunity in the Bangkok market right now?
I sure hope so. I think for the sake of our skyline and for the sake of the customers who are buying the products as well, I really do think that this is how we should all be developing real estate.
People come here and they see, like, they buy a condo and they see it as a sunken cost, like they're never going to get out of it just because there's this issue of being oversupplied, or it could be a bubble. The value depreciates because it's not really that well constructed.
Mhm. So it comes back to choosing the right property to invest in. You're not going to want to invest in a property where 1,000 of the same type of units. That might be a little bit harder to liquidate. It might be a little bit harder to find a renter for and things like that. But if you're choosing based on, location, um, definitely a project that is in a prime location holds and retains its value no matter what. So whether you're looking to make a capital gain by reselling it, or you're looking for renters to rent out your unit, things like that. I think if it's in a really key location, it has accessibility to transportation, and it's a good quality product, then no matter what, it's always a good investment.
Like, I'm actually curious about that. So
Mhm.
whether like, what segments of the market where have the prices have been appreciating, and what segments where the market's been stagnant or actually falling in terms of price?
Mhm. So it comes back to supply and demand. So any segment that has a big supply will be slower, more stagnant in growth. Any segment that has less supply will always see an increase in value, So if we're looking like as a very specific example, right? Condominiums by the river. There are only so many plots of land by the river. So no matter what, those guys will always kind of see an increase in value. Similarly to condominiums by the BTS, there are only so many parcels of land that are, you know, extremely close or walking distance to the BTS. So those projects, once they've sold out, there'll always still be a demand for those kind of locations.
And the Strand here is located very close to Thonglor BTS.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And so how has been the price appreciation of this project since its inception?
So the price has consistently been going up. We actually, during the pandemic, maintained our pricing because I think it's also part of, our commitment, relationship with our customers who have bought at pre-sales that we weren't going to drop the pricing. And especially now that the project is complete, people have been seeing the real thing. They see the location, and they see the value in it. Uh, and in terms of the rental, the Strand has been extremely successful at renting out their units. So all our customers who have bought specifically to rent have been extremely happy. And I think that is due to a number of reasons. One is obviously the location and the proximity to the BTS, but also the fact that we have, the all-day dining restaurant on the ground floor. We have a bar. We're close to some offices, things like that. So all of these reasons kind of appeal to the rental market as well, and it's been able to allow us to kind of see growth in value.
What really is the appeal of, you mentioned the appeal displays dark and the attention to the materials that you have. And can you talk about this neighborhood here too?
Yeah, so I think Thonglor is a really cool neighborhood because traditionally it was a very residential neighborhood. So you've got a lot of like old families who have their houses and estates around here. And then you kind of see the next generations of those families kind of looking for a place to live in this area. So you've got kind of this old school residents who've always been around here and they've been able to kind of create kind of a community and a lifestyle in Thonglor. But then you've also got um, a lot of like foreigners coming in here as well. So you've got a lot of Japanese people, you've got a lot of Europeans who enjoy Thonglor for the F&B and the nightlife that it provides. So in some sense, this street has really become a melting pot. You've got like restaurants of every type of cuisine you can find in Thonglor.
That's where it is now.
Mhm.
Where do you see this neighborhood developing in the future?
I honestly think it's gonna get better and better. The government, they've put some special interest in this area. They say, the electrical wires will be going down soon.
Oh,
And so
really?
it'll be
We'll
more
see.
it'll be more of a walking street.
Yeah.
And I think there are plans for a Gray Line monorail to come through Tongla as well. So in terms of accessibility, it's also gonna get better terms of the F&B and the nightlife, it's always going to be OG around here. Like
Yeah.
this is where it is.
Uh-huh.
Any cool new bar will pop up around here first. And I think as the F&B scene flourishes in Thailand as a whole, we're going to see more and more really interesting gastronomy popping up in Thonglor.